Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here.
Howdy.
With Plumbing Webmasters.
I almost missed my cue there. I was just going to say.
Oh, it's all right. So this one's going to be most marketing agencies for plumbers are bullshit.
Bullshit!
So, and I've got a lot to talk about on this one. So I've got a lot to go over why, and we'll label this just for the video for BS,
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, I love it.
But anyway, I like bullshit, by the way, and horse crap. That's like kind of a Texas thing to say, and then it's kind of accepted jargon to say bullshit or horse crap.
Well, it's definitely accepted in Texas. Yeah. I don't know if it's a Texas thing.
Is it not? I don't know. But anyway, I
don't think we cornered the market on bullshit.
I don't think it helps me that I'm comfortable saying it, and but I am. But anyway, so the reason they're bullshit because most of them don't do their jobs properly, and of course,
right.
It's maddening for me because we do a good job here, but every single day of my life, what's that dude? I always forget the name, Sisyphus or whatever. Is that his name?
You got that
Sisyphus.
right.
Sisyphus.
I am impressed.
Pushing the rock up the hill.
Pushing the rock up the hill.
And then it rolls back down again. So every...
Kudos to Nolen.
Yeah, thank you. But I mean, if I had my crux, it's to, and I don't mind explaining it, but everybody that calls here has been screwed by a web company.
Yeah. Almost universally.
And
the only ones that haven't been screwed by the web company have just started their business and haven't talked to, and we're the first web company they've talked to.
That's unusual, and sometimes I'll tell those people literally to call me back after they've been screwed multiple times.
Yeah, when they literally question the price or whatever, it's like, why don't you go get a website done by somebody else, and after you've been screwed over, call us back.
I'm a little nicer than that, but but not a lot. But I mean, it's not a lot to say. It's like, hey, we know we're like half to a third as much as players in the market that don't do what we do,
right?
That people like, and so yeah. But anyway, so why are they bullshit? They're bullshit because they're sales organizations. You're dealing with a salesperson. And literally most of the service is built around a sale. The service...
In a lot of these companies, the sales department's the largest department.
Yeah, it is. And the sale is built around... The whole company is built around the sale. The salesperson doesn't know the product. So even if the company was good, which is almost never, but even if they were good, you wouldn't know it because you're dealing with the salesperson.
Right.
90
Who knows
plus...
some buzzwords.
Who knows industry jargon that you don't know and just barely knows more than you. So the client will get tripped up, and some of them are pretty astute about it that I talked to. I talked to a guy the other day, and he said, I have to gut check everybody. He went with us, but he said, I have to gut check everyone. I was like, well, you do and you don't. I said, we do some things a little different that will clue you off as to differences, such as, and I'm not trying to make sales for us here, but there are differences you can clue into. So we're month to month, hardly anything to get started. Like we do a $99 startup, our fees less, and we don't bundle everything together.
Right.
So we're not trying to grab the paid advertising with the SEO or vice versa. We'll split the stuff separate, and it's very transparent billing.
Right.
And if the client leaves, we're screwed, basically.
Yeah.
So it makes it. I do it, by the way, because I get more conversion. Like I was like years and years ago, I used to charge money, and I'm like, well, if I don't charge them thousands down or tie them down to a long-term agreement, more people sign up. Yeah. So it wasn't any stroke of genius for me. It's just like more people sign up. And
yeah, I actually remember because we used to charge like the first full month at sign up. And I remember when you said, let's get rid of that and just charge a small setup fee. And it helped.
So the reason I did that is because people got screwed over by everyone. They're scared.
Yeah, and they're worried about paying down that $1,000 or just under.
They're just worried about getting screwed again.
Yeah. Basically.
That's all it boils down to. There's like, well, Nolen, are you going to do a job? And people, okay, can I guarantee it? I was like, I can't guarantee anything in life, man. There's no deal with the devil or anything you can sign off and just say, oh, I'm never going to get screwed in marketing. I'm going to pull a percentage profit and my life's going to be perfect. So with marketing, but that's what people want,
Yeah,
it's what people want. And but with marketing, it's really double down for that because the people can't tell what they're doing. And it doesn't mean that we're not doing it, but people can't tell what's supposed to be done.
Right.
So then they get sold on this narrative or this sales spiel, and then they get slopped up. And we did one the other day called slap-on marketing.
Right.
They slap up a WordPress template.
If they even do that, sometimes client already has a crappy website.
That's true.
And they just slap some even less valuable stuff onto something. They take a website that's largely garbage, slap some useless crap on it that's shiny.
Right.
And
we're going to take all this garbage and trick Google into thinking it's not garbage.
Right.
And I guess it's ridiculous. We're going to do another one here in a minute about SEO explained so anybody can understand it. But part of that is just think about it logically. Do you think that your website that has no content, that's never worked on, that somebody's going to be able to trick Google into showing it above other people's websites?
Right.
And if you just go look at somebody's website and think about it logically, it's like, gosh, should I get stuff like them or try to do better than them? Is mine as good? If they'll just stop for a second and look at it just for a minute.
And really think about it. It's like Google is $1 billion company that probably has the most advanced form of AI. Whether you want to argue whether it's real AI or not, it's the closest thing out there. Right. You're not going to fool them.
You're not going to trick them. You got to do high quality skilled work. So most of these companies are salespeople or people sitting at home. They've learned how to take some slap-on tool and give you reports, and they're very unethical and have very low integrity.
Right.
They start out with a hope and a dream and become just like, rooted in just poor business ethics and lack of integrity. Because they know at some point that they're not doing a good job.
Right. I mean, and sometimes they're doing something utterly useless that looks fancy. Sometimes they're doing something you're supposed to do, but they're doing it badly.
Right.
Sometimes they're doing something right, but it's one thing out of 100 you need.
When you talk to somebody, I'm curious, so this will be interesting for me at least.
Okay.
When you talk to somebody that's a marketing expert at a company, at a plumber's office.
And like their internal person.
And they're going off about idiocy that they know nothing about to justify their position at the company, which we get all the time.
All the time.
Jason gets it all the time. Do they know that they don't know?
Sometimes.
Can you tell that they know, or are they just in that state of ignorance to where that's...
It depends on their age.
Okay.
If I get some fresh-faced kid straight out of college, got his first job in marketing, they will listen to me. They're like, well, how do you do this? How do you do this? But if I get some person that sounds not my age, because nobody is, but like I get someone in their 30s or 40s and they're talking to me, and I can tell from the voice, just from the world weariness and everything, they'll be very defensive and very kind of, well, it's got to be done this way. And it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. But they think they do. I mean, they're like, they will waive some report or something they've got to use against, to argue with me. And I'm like, no, that everything you just said doesn't matter. That's all irrelevant.
We just signed up a client the other day who said, well, I went onto this site and I tried to move it because the hosting I read was bad with this hosting company, and the speed was supposed to be better over here. And he kept going on about it. And I said, look, there's nothing wrong with speed. In fact, speed might be one of the top 10 things that we know about, but it's one of 10 things, and then it's preceded by hundreds of other factors.
Right.
And so I said, the point is, it's all these things combined, all this skilled, detailed work, and if you fix the speed of your very bad website,
you just have a fast bad
You have
website.
a faster bad website, and it's not going to just miraculously show up in search rankings. And so one thing that's BS about it, that's bullshit about these companies, is that they'll tout citations. Oh, once we get you on these 76 listings, these 155 listings across the internet, everything's going to sink in and fall in place, and it's just going to work. And it's like, no, that's just citations.
I actually had a current client call the other day, and he said, well, I got a call from this other company, and they said that my information was inconsistent and that you guys hadn't done citations. And he actually used the term citations. And I said, well, we actually do citations, so what was inconsistent? What sites did they see? Because we will fix that immediately. I was just like, oh, you tell me if one of my people did wrong. I'll make some heads roll and I'll
Well,
get that
it was
fixed.
on Alibaba HVAC India. And you're like,
no, they didn't even know.
They didn't even know.
They was like, why? They weren't specific. And I said, so they could just be lying.
Right.
And I said, did they send you some kind of report? And he said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you forward it to me?
Oh, cool.
I'll take a look.
What happened?
It was just boilerplate. It was just a form report that some guy is mass
email
out,
a mass email,
hoping to hook a fish.
Yeah, and
that's all it was. I said, number one, okay, you've got 10 things on this report.
Right.
We've done all but this one, and this one doesn't matter.
Right.
And it was some like weirdly obscure, stupid thing.
Yeah, like
and.
You can have some citations not correct, but
Google the report had more than citations on it, but
right.
Citations was the thing that they had concentrated on.
Right.
And of the other 9 things, there was only one thing we hadn't done, and it was, I can't remember because it was months ago.
But the point
is, it was something that actually has no effect on SEO, so it was just made up.
Plumbers are getting barraged by phone calls, emails. When they do call somebody or they respond to a Facebook ad they saw, then they get this nonsense, this boilerplate junk. The salesperson barely knows more than the client, and the company barely knows enough to get everything going.
Yeah.
And then they're just going through fishing, trying to get a reoccurring payment without getting any of the corresponding work done. I told this guy, I said, I said, we're going to run something called WP Rocket, speed up the WordPress site. I said, but our site will probably be slower than some other sites. And I said, do you know why? He said, no. I said, because you're going to do a lot of pins with having photos on the site. But you can have a faster website that has no photos on it, no content. And so...
Do you remember that time that we got, someone forwarded us an email they got from someone trying to sell them. And some marketing startup was using site speed as the sole metric.
Yeah, that's exactly
And they had named us... They had mentioned us by name as our sites are faster than Plumbing Webmasters.
They had the most horrific sites with no photos.
Yeah, it was like the sites were just a background color and plain text and no photos.
Fastest sites you've ever seen.
It's like I could make a site incredibly fast if I could do it like that.
So people pick these things and nitpick stuff, but the point is, a site that's got a lot of attributes to it that are great for search engine optimization will not be as fast as a plain white page with content and no photos on it.
Right.
The speed itself doesn't denote it, but people will take, these marketing agencies will pick something like a citations program, they'll pick out speed, and then they'll go, or they'll say, hey, you're not showing up for plumbing company in this city, or but you have like 3,000 other words,
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh my God, I'm not showing up for it. You can win at optimization by just having tons of right things done, and you have to have good skill sets. But all these companies, they just have no skill sets hardly at all. They barely have any knowledge, barely put together, and then all this sales garbage.
Yeah. And they pick out something like you mentioned, the one city you're not number one for in
whatever
for
it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is, something you'll have an emotional reaction to. Like when we get the call from the guy who's angry because
I'm not in the number. I'm not in the top 10.
His competitor that he hates
Yeah.
is above him in a nearby city, and he just hates that person so much.
But he's not in that city.
Yeah, he's not over there.
He's not even over there.
And I'm like, well, are you telling me that you don't have any business right now?
I'm not in ranking.
Like, oh no, my trucks, I have more business than I can handle. I mean, I've had that conversation with
You had that conversation this week.
Yeah.
And it was.
It's like you've got more business you can handle. Why are you complaining?
That was the guy that thought that he was supposed to be number one in paid advertising, though.
Yeah,
because he didn't understand.
That was just a misunderstanding. But I've had people who we were just talking about organic, and they will tell me flat out that all their trucks are running all day, every day.
Our business has been so much better since we hooked up with you guys.
But this guy's showing up ahead of me, and I'm like,
so
why does that bother you? And then you find out that guy that's showing up ahead of him used to work for him and went off and started his own company, and he's resentful.
Fleeced him, rotten. Yeah. So I mean, it's just, anyway, it's people get mad about it. So marketing companies will use that anger as a ploy to sign you up.
Yeah, they try to transfer that anger to us So that
or
you're angry
anybody,
or whoever it is.
Whoever they're with.
To get you angry at your current provider so that you'll switch.
So we're dealing with a potential new sign up right now that's a plumber. And he's gone nuts on reports.
I was about to say, is this reports guy?
Which we did
how we refer to him.
Which we did a podcast about. And the companies will get him on there and get him on Zoom and then start in on SEMrush and reporting.
Right.
Which is completely arbitrary to the client. And it's not like it's dumb to try to go look at a report, but the way that it's pulled, if you understood the context of it like we do, it's arbitrary. And it's arbitrary for no other reason than that the idiot, bullshit marketing company pulling the report that's 95+% unable to perform is showing them somebody that they're angry at. Here's your competitor above you. Oh, God, I hate that guy. He's like, yeah, well, he's beating your ass. Well, why he can? Can you help me? Well, yes, sir. We perform search engine optimization and digital fortressing, and I can't remember what that was called.
Social
fortressing, and
that's my personal.
And they come up and we're gonna run citations, and remember we're gonna have funneling and email drips and landing pages, and we just need $7,000 if you really want to beat him, and then on a 12-month agreement, money down, and it's going to be great. And then they do reports and pull this stuff up, and then the poor guy goes with them, and then this is it's almost exactly what will happen. They'll give you this really horrific website for your optimization on organic, which would have been
5 pages max.
5, 10, 15 pages, but it's complete crap.
Yeah.
And then it'll sit there, never change, never have anything done to it, and that would have been over 70% of the search. And they take the money and they'll charge you $1,000, $1,500, $2,500, $3,800, depending on who you're calling. $3,800, $2,500 are two of the big people that we know. And you'll pay that for that, and then they'll take your I guess the SEM budget, the SEM, SEO. They'll take the marketing budget and then they'll spend that on Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, do landing pages, funneling, email drips, and whisper calls. And you'll be like, oh, this is great. Nolen didn't talk about this. He was a little cranky and only wanted to do organic. It's like, this guy's kissing my ass and making me mad about my competitor and whispering in my ear that I'm going to beat him. I love it. And then he goes and he's spending all this money and he just like, whoa. And like 6 months, a year later, he's like, I've been screwed around. I've been screwed.
I've been paying almost $4,000 a month.
It's very common. I've been screwed. And I'm like, well, and I'm not like, I feel bad for them that they got screwed around.
Yeah.
And it sucks that we do a $99 startup with no money down on a month-to-month because of it, because we should be getting 10 or 20 grand down on a term agreement.
But we can't.
For what we do.
Yeah.
But anyway, but they get messed around and then they get set up, they go spend all this money. What the client doesn't know is that the SEO was completely screwed, that the paid advertising, I don't have anything against it, but it is going to cost hundreds and hundreds of % more.
And that price is never going to go down.
Right.
It's not even going to level out.
It's like,
it's always going to go up. The cost of a click is constantly going up. And if you stick with the same pay-per-click budget, even if the cost of a click didn't go up, your business can't grow because you're paying for the same amount of traffic. Yeah. So if you want your business to grow, you got to pay more, and then the cost of click goes up. And over time, it just goes up and up and up and up and up, and it never levels off.
It's like taking your check to the paycheck cashing place, instead of
going to the bank.
Instead of going to the bank and budgeting your money and saving a little bit and investing or something. Right. It reminds me of just like pawning yourself off.
Right.
But so the client does that, gets upset, doesn't know what happened, and there's nothing wrong with going to some lead sources and doing all that, buying some leads, doing some paid advertising. But when they go and they get in with this flam-flammy marketing company that's a complete BS, they just take them and fleece them. They take money off the paid. They take money off the SEO. It sounds great, and they got like this $4,000 budget, and somebody might have taken $2,500 of it or more for marketing for them. Like if you black box build it, which you didn't know if the money went into your Google ads or not, they will on average take 50% or more. That is industry standard.
They will figure out exactly how much they have to spend on PPC to keep you not happy, but to keep you on board.
And if you don't believe me on that, I if not thousands, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, if not over 1,000 at this point, have heard people
over 1,000.
Have heard people say, well, no, I'm just talking phone calls on this particular thing. Have had people say, Nolen is the damnedest thing. I call and complain, and when I complain, I'll get leads for a week. Go back down. And I guess they go on and tweak the SEO or do something. They're not working, then they start working. And I'm like, are you paying for clicks, sir? And they're like, well, yeah, I'm paying for clicks. I said, they're spending money when you call and yell.
They increase the budget.
They increase the budget when you call and yell.
To get you to shut up.
And then they take all the money back. I said, do you pay them the check fully, or do you see? And a lot of people are saying, well, I'll see it from Google or whatever. I just had a call with a guy, by the way, who wanted to use data pins only. And I said, look, I'm almost to the point to where I don't do that anymore. Let me take a look at it. He said, well, I've already got somebody doing all my SEO. And his site looked pretty bad. I wasn't really in that mode to like hammer it. I wasn't trying to flip the lead around to like full services. I said, I will tell you this though, if your website's no good, data pins can't fix poor quality web work. Right. Data pins is phenomenal as a tool, but can't fix crap work.
If it's resting on a proper foundation.
So he was outside of Philadelphia. I looked him up. I said, I see you're in a smaller town outside. He said, we don't go into Philadelphia much. I said, understandable. I have heard that before for a residential person. And I said, okay, so let's go look at an interior page of the website. And it said a county was the optimization point. And I said, so you work this county? He said, yeah. And I said, what does this mean? And it was like an abbreviation of the name of the area. It wasn't even the county name at that point. I said, is this a local word people search? He said, no. And I said, let's go look at your homepage and look at the meta title. I said, we're just looking at real basic stuff. And I said, so the homepage goes for the county as well. So do people search the county or they search cities? I said, your on-page optimization is horrible. I would sell you data pins for this much for software only without SEO, but we're not fixing the horrible quality content that you have. And I said, I'm not here to like cause a problem or to try to flip you onto a sale, but this is how much we charge for monthly right now, which I don't go into right now in case it changes or something, but this is what we charge for the full service where you do your design and content and code base and your data pins and citations and SSL and speed and everything. All that stuff comes with it. I went over it really quickly. I said, but you understand if we put data pins on here and you begin to optimize these pages, Google doesn't know what to optimize because you haven't done the most basic things on the page.
Right.
So the data pins will probably help your map show up and will get you some reputation reviews. But most of these people that we do this with cancel because they don't have it activate properly because it is not integrated properly because your website's done so poorly currently. I said, would you like me to email you? He said, well, you kind of caught me on the way to a bid. And I'm like, that's fine. Would you like me to email you some proper clients so you can take a look at what stuff's supposed to look like?
Yeah, what a properly done website.
I said, I'd be happy to do that. I'm not high pressure. Take a look at it, and I'll call you next week as a courtesy follow-up. You can call me in the meantime. I'd love to hear from you. And that was it. So he's like, oh, and he said, I've got the SEO going. I've got the Facebook going. I got all that. I'm just interested in data pins. So I was like, don't call and sell me other stuff, Nolen. I like the sound of you, but it sounds like you can sell some stuff, and I don't want to go down that road with you. And it's like, so it's kind of like...
And it's like, but you don't have SEO taken care of.
And people like me because I'm straightforward and honest, but I don't oversell them. I don't try to hammer people, and I don't try to pry credit cards out of people. I never have done that, and that's one of the reasons people like me. But people also like me because I seem sincere, because I am, and then we provide services as though exactly as we say, unlike they've ever had before. So now the guy's going to look at it and call back. And in reality, if we install this on this guy's page, it probably wouldn't work very well.
Absolutely. For anybody who doesn't know, we tried just selling letting people just use data pins, saying, hey, we'll offer this as just a standalone product. Let people use it. We believe in it. We know it works.
Right.
But the problem is, for it to work, it has to be set up properly. And then we did the actual setups on their sites for them as part of the thing. And even when those were done right, they didn't use it right. They didn't have a site that could support it properly.
Yeah,
we had a client recently, I will not name names, who our guys went in and set it up and did it all right. And their site was kind of okay, not great, but not a real bad one. And then their web developer went in, didn't like what we done, and ripped it all out. Which means now that all they left was the main pins page.
So we used to sell it to digital marketing agencies, which most are bullshit.
Yes.
And we stopped selling it to digital marketing agencies because these little hacky services out there would not build the website or install it anywhere near possible
right. They
properly.
Set it up right.
Maddening.
Yeah, it was just.
So I'd like to say one other thing about this guy today that I talked to.
Yeah.
The mere concept of him slapping on something to fix his crap, his bullshit.
Yeah.
His brain's in the wrong standpoint to even perform on it in the first place. We know from dealing with people that if he can't wrap his head around the fact that at the end of the conversation, he said, well, my marketing isn't working really, and I do have to do something about it. That's why I was calling you. I said, we can't fix the problems of the crud that you have. And so he has to come to the point in his brain to where he said, I've been screwed around. I'm not getting a good job done. I need to do something different. If he can't do that, he won't even use data pins.
Right.
Because he's looking to do cheap stuff to fix it.
If you have a 30-year-old Hyundai hatchback and you stick a blower coming out of the hood, it does not make it a Ferrari.
Yeah. Good point, I guess.
It's a Hyundai that goes slightly faster and will probably just burn the engine up.
Yeah.
It's just not going to do it.
Someone needs to be able to understand a little bit about it so that they can understand. By the time somebody's listening to podcasts and like this, they're starting to kind of get the picture of it. And we're going to go and do one of these for HVAC, which is as well called HVAC SEO Explained, so anyone can understand it. And we'll go through it so that somebody can kind of understand it in a little better fashion, but it basically is just doing a lot of things properly.
Right.
So that the algorithm judges you better, and you can't half-ass it. A lot of these people, by the way, don't spend any money, villainize SEO, villainize professional services, and jump up and down and cancel during their slow season or 1 month off. And it's erratic and poorly done and never has any investment put into it in the first place.
Right.
So that is half of all people that call here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing you said that the guy says, my marketing's not working.
Right.
But when you're talking to him about SEO, he's like, well, I got that handled. Well, apparently you don't.
So I used to get into this with people, and I really don't ask much anymore. I'm more only interested if they're paying. So as of the date of this airing, we're still around, under $1,000, but people charge like $2,500, $3,800. Those are two people in particular.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick this guy apart and ask him, I don't care anymore because I know what they're doing and I've heard it 1,000 times or more, and I don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
But I know he's paying like $299.
Yeah.
So you can't pay.
That's the price point, isn't it?
Yes.
When you're at the low end.
That's when you're at the low end. That's the one that makes people, and people say all the time, well, I currently pay $500. And I said, no, currently you waste $500. And if you go with us for our price, then you'll be paying a little bit more, and it's all effective. Instead of you throwing $500 down the drain, you get screwed out of $500 right now. You go with us for our price and you get proper services.
Right.
It's a totally different situation, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it to somebody, and they'll stop and they'll look like, oh, well, they'll laugh, and I was like, it ain't fun. It ain't funny.
I'm not joking.
It ain't funny. Yeah. So,
am I a clown to you?
No. It's getting old, man. I'm sure most of our clients know what that's from. But Joe Pesci.
Maybe not the younger ones.
Goodfellas. It's a classic deal. I think younger people know some of these because they're so popular. They're in memes and little video clips and stuff. I think Joe Pesci's, known by a younger crowd a little bit. If my kids know some of that stuff, it's because it's popularized in like video clips and stuff. So, But anyway, I want to leave with this. I feel bad for clients that they get screwed.
Absolutely.
I don't.
I hear these stories and I'm just like.
It sucks that you get screwed around. Yeah. But there's no guarantees in life and business. And this is part of the deal. And if you care about your business, you seek out better professional services like ours, and you go through these bruises and learn better, and you use us for the best that we can offer you, and you supplement and do what you need to on your end as well. And you don't villainize good services, you learn from bad services, and you learn what you should be doing on your end, which might just be pins and reviews or looking for another lead source that we can't help you with, like Yelp or Home Advisor, Angie's List, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
Even though you may not like all those too, but you can find some stuff that will work. The number one thing that works is organic, because it's where the vast majority of clicks are, where the vast majority of the people go, which is Google.
Right.
And then you get up on there and your life's better and you have a profitable business and you have a good situation, and you're constantly struggling to find other stuff to add to it as far as alternative marketing to increase your brand around town, whatever you're doing. But there you can get good services, and there's so many bad companies out there that is mind-boggling. And the reason I say, be happy when you get a good service, because there'll constantly be a shyster calling you. A bullshit marketing company will constantly be emailing you, calling you.
Within the first 6 months of being with us, almost all of our clients will call at some point and say, I'm getting all these calls from people trying to sell me marketing.
Because they start showing up better in ranking.
That's my rebuttal. Yeah. It's like, how do you think they found you?
Yeah.
You think they went to page 10 looking for you? No, you were on page 1 and they called you because we put you there.
As they show up better in ranking, then more people call, and then they have to fend off these shyster bullshit marketing companies and sift through the nonsense in order to see, what they need to do. Every once in a while you can learn something from stuff going on, but just so people know, I get calls, all day long, every day.
Yeah.
From people saying that my websites aren't performing well.
I got a boilerplate SEO report on one of our websites the other day.
It's not performing well, or we can help you. I get them all the time. Or you need to get verified on Google, or you're in danger of being taken off of Google and all this stuff. And call.
It's 100% bullshit.
Yeah, the call that I had a call just come in while we were sitting here, and I can almost guarantee you it was it didn't leave a message, but I can almost guarantee you that that's what it was. But anyhow, we would love to be of service. Got anything else you want to say?
No, I think we covered it.
Take it easy, guys. We'll see you.